Okay, hopefully you can give me a sec. Is not responding.
Yes, we can see you, but we cannot see the.
And have the opportunity to actually tell you a story, the story of an ICT manager who is actually looking for what are the opportunities behind digitalization at sea, and actually what are the challenges, and maybe how we can help as an ecosystem these IT manager to solve these challenges. So, let's start looking at what are the gain of a smart ship or a smarter ship. So obviously, our ICT manager can have a look at the work that Inmarsat, the report that Inmarsat has actually published earlier this year in a work done in cooperation with the Lloyd List Intelligence, where we interviewed more than 1,200 between ship managers, ship owners at different levels, asking our customers, the members of the Lloyd List Intelligence, what are the main drivers for digitalization, and actually what are the gains. And what we found, first of all, is that on the top of the driver for adopting digital solution is, as usual, operational efficiency, reducing the operational cost, namely the fuel, first of all, but also improving efficiency in the operation itself. In the top 3 ranking, we also have, compliance with regulation, the increasing restricting the regulation, especially with, cybersecurity, IMO 2021, and eventually create a better value for the customer. So, but behind these drivers, we ask what is the return of investment, and we ask them both in terms of indicating percentages as an element of the operation cost, and actually indicating the dollar value of it. More than 60% of the people we interviewed actually told us that they see an average of 14% of reduction of their operation cost, which then translates, depending on the company, the size of the company, of cost saving per year estimated being from the $500,000 and up. So, but our ICT manager can start questioning and say how we can actually realize this saving. Well, digital solutions are going to solve the problems like saving actually time of the superintendent, tracking the different operational parameters of the device on board as some value, up to actually monitoring the condition of the equipment, and therefore saving the company from a failure of a mission critical equipment, which can then translate into both a cost for non-planned maintenance, but also off hire of the vessel itself. The everlasting story about navigation, whether it is reducing the rush to wait, or actually the weather rerouting, and therefore improve the element of fuel consumption that can save thousands of dollars per day, all the way actually to taking care of the crew welfare, making sure that we take care of the health, both physical and mental health of our crew, that can save us from apart from accidents, actually even late reroutings because of health issues on board, without even counting the cost of in accidents and the legal cost associated with it. Okay, but these are the benefit behind digitalization. But now our smart IT manager will start to question, okay, but what is really needed? What is the reality behind it? Well, and we could tell him that there are few pain points. I will touch here to maybe a couple of those. The first pain point is the connectivity. We see that connectivity, the variation of the quality of the connectivity is a challenge, and the fact that connectivity is primarily due for crew welfare makes it a challenge to actually implement more and more applications that actually rely on this element of connectivity. And I will dig more into it. On top of it, we're also thinking about the need of a physical access. So I have a fleet of, I'm a fleet manager with a fleet of anything, variable from the 5 to the 500 ships. And then I want to, I have highlighted, pinpointed an application which it is great to, to reduce my operational cost, and I want to deploy this application on my fleet. What the logistic behind this deployment actually can be one order of magnitude higher than the cost of the application itself. The need of physical access, often installing IoT gateway and configuration interfaces on board the ships that even they are sister ships, they're actually one different, island. Each sure there is an island. There are challenges interfacing the system, might actually be the biggest, wall that we hit when we want to deploy a large-scale software on a fleet, without touching the finance access. Who is actually investing the money, the capital expenditure needed to install a piece of hardware, compared to actually who is getting the benefit, which actually is another budget, the operation budget. But let's look at more in detail at the element of connectivity and what is the reality when it comes to connectivity. Already a couple of years ago, at Inmarsat, we were publishing a report, the Industrial IoT Land at Sea, and we were showing us, compared to what we also have rediscovered this year in 2020, already ship management companies, so we're thinking about investing as average $2.5 million in the following years into powering up the IT systems. They were all believing in, again, this magic number 14 average cost saving in operation, but the majority of them, more than 51%, they were actually telling us that they were having challenges in actually even get the basic IoT, sensor data out of the ship. This is still the reality. Even more these days, we see that acquiring higher, bandwidth, higher data rate of communication is actually done first of all for the crew welfare, more than for a operational requirement. The main reason why shipping companies provide internet to the crew is for welfare. This is already a source of the Euroconsult, which were even telling us that the given safety training and crew retention is actually an important aspect for fleet managers. And FusionNatis was actually telling us again that 75% of the seafarers that they were interviewing last year, 75 of them, they were stating that the level of connectivity is an element influencing their decision to which ship operator to work. So again, crew retention and crew welfare are today one of the main reasons why a ship manager, a ship owner is actually providing a good rate, a good package of communication for the ship. But at the same time, this bandwidth, which is used mainly for the crew, makes it difficult to ensure that a systematic update, that the large operational software are actually be able to be installed on multiple vessels on a scale without actually compromising on board connectivity. we have seen a lot of customers telling us that they would like to have one application of, as large as a gigabyte be installed on the fly and downloaded to the ship. They are not actually capable to do that today. Cybersecurity. We see already, our consultant was telling us that the forecasted number of distributed denial of service attacks, those attacks, is increasing on an average, 40%, has been increasing as average 40% every year in the last 5 years. We see a growth of internet traffic and business data breaches that has been 8-folded in the last 10 years. I don't have to remind you the size of the loss of the Maersk attack in 2017, the Austal in 2018, and the MSC this year, which is still to be, computed. Bandwidth consumption itself. Already the consultant was telling us that we see a 3-fold growth of the average bandwidth consumption across practically all sectors in the shipping. But while on the side there is an average of demand on capacity which is ever increasing, there is a risk that the capacity remains unmet. So the challenge that we see today on the amount of capacity actually unmet, we see that there is a chance that this risk will actually grow in the future. As Inmarsat, from our data centers, we see the average IP traffic doubling every year. We have a reference telling us that most of the IP traffic is actually, again, most of the bandwidth is actually taken by the crew, whether it's surfing or any application related to the queue. And these have obviously accelerated this year with the pandemic. But then what happened is that if our application, our digital solution, have to fight their space in the bandwidth, which is getting more and more congested, and where the queue is more and more active and using the largest portion of the bandwidth, it means that there is less and less available for the application, and the perceived quality of the application is actually poor, or at least as good as the bandwidth that is supporting it. The impact then for the digital solution that we try to deploy at sea is that on one side, there are challenges with cybersecurity, limited connectivity at sea, which are directly translated in a risk on a commercial proposition. So, we promise to give you a good understanding of the condition of the ship, of the equipment of the ship, but actually at the same time, we don't get the IoT data. So this can actually create a safety risk for the ship manager who is using those applications. On one side, we see several connectivity providers, different configuration on board, IT system that change from ship to ship. This has an impact to operation as asset management. If as a ship manager, IT manager, I want to buy one application and then deploy it on my fleet, I actually have a challenge in operation. The challenge of deploying the software can actually be bigger than investment in the software itself. And then even if I manage to get the application deployed on board, the quality of the connectivity, the changes between being in a certain area of the world, on a certain area at sea, close to port, close to shore, the quality, the perceived quality of the application changes actually in the life of even during one sea leg. So what are the solution then? Well, as Inmarsat, we have been building basic capabilities to actually support and actually trigger the transformation of the shipping industry to more digitized shipping. The most basic capability is the one that we call Fleet Connect, which is the capability to offer a dedicated bandwidth service to the application provider, which means that as a ship manager, if our IT manager, our ship manager is buying an application, which is then supported by a dedicated bandwidth with Fleet Connect, first of all, the ship manager has no hassle in looking or revising their primary, connectivity contract. They can buy the application. The application has the segregated secondary bandwidth included. This means also that the commercial risk is removed. The application provider can actually offer a service level agreement that is independent from connectivity because the application provider have their own connectivity. It is a segregated bandwidth, segregated from the business network, from the crew network, from the OT network, therefore offering an even higher level of cybersecurity for both the ship manager and the application provider. Building on this basic capability, then we added, well, if we as Inmarsat, we also offer the opportunity, instead of connect to any device or application on board, we actually leveraging on our very capillary infrastructure where we are able to have service engineers in every major port. Actually, we support our ship manager by installing a IoT gateway, and we take care of interfacing the different systems on board, whether it's the VDR or automation monitoring, alarm monitoring system, or a bridge system, or an active system. And actually, we are able to, on behalf of the ship manager, collect these IoT sensor data and on a dedicated segregated bandwidth, bring it on a cloud, and then offer the opportunity to the ship manager to actually have those data. We are solving the additional element of getting onboard the vessel and with multiple applications and getting onboard the vessel multiple times. We are solving the challenges of interfacing with the different systems, because we take as Inmarsat tools. What then we can offer is that with the consent of the ship manager, we can open a window to this data to a third-party application provider. And that is revolutionary, because then we have application providers who can actually offer their capabilities, their software, their digital solution without ever get the need to get on board the vessel. So if today I want to buy a weather routing, fuel saving, ship vessel performance management solution, today I need to identify, have a discussion with my application provider. They have to get on board, install IoT gateway, collect data for a few months, and then build a baseline and then offer the capability. If the application provider is a certified application provider of fleet data, in a couple of days, provided that we have the consent, the ship manager is providing a consent, the application provider has access to the data of the vessel without needing to get on board, has many historical data the ship manager wants actually to the application to have. They can build immediately their baselines. There is no challenge of interfaces. In a couple of days, they can immediately, the ship manager can immediately see the benefit and use the application. And we can replicate this many times, because the installation is done only one time, and then the ship manager can access different applications all at the same time without ever need to get anybody else on board than just Inmarsat the first time, together with the installation of our REC and telecommunication package. And now we are building even over these capabilities with leveraging on our Fleet Edge, the latest technology of RAC that we have. And actually, we are building on the capability to host, to deploy a third-party application provider in a Docker container. Again, even higher level of security, because it's on a segregated network with their own bandwidth, and the application do not need to reside on a server in the business network, making it even easier to deploy application, because then can be done remotely, saving even more time for the IT manager and making the deployment application even more secure and safe. So, but who on earth is actually certified to use this infrastructure? So as IT manager now, I know that there are these capabilities. Who are the application provider? Well, as per today, the ecosystem of certified application provider that can actually exploit this capability is larger than ever. It is keeps growing on a weekly basis. Here we have application providers in the area of performance management, whether it's routing or managing the performance and the systems on board, all the way to crew health, both mental and physical health, training. We go to condition monitoring of equipment, all the way to the element actually of managing the operation between and the communication between ship to shore. We have element of remote support with glasses and cameras, all the way to very high tech to take care of the health of our crew. Just a couple of examples out of this ecosystem application provider. Uni Global Services, a subsidiary of the Uni, the shipyard, the Uni Heavy Industry shipyard. They deploy the integrated smart ship solution as a complete package using our Fleet Connect dedicated bandwidth services. In this way, they have a package of integrated smart ship and satellite communication that is deployed automatically when they actually build the ship. The ship manager, therefore, doesn't have to actually look after the need or whatever are the requirements in the satellite communication for the integrated smart ship solution, and the ISS solution has actually a higher level of integration and higher level of security than any other system that is actually available on board. Another example on the other side, so we jumped from an example of performance management and condition monitoring. The other example is Viking. Viking is a total healthcare solution provider covering the need of different ongoing healthcare needs, like from managing urgent care to doctor house calls, chronic disease management, wellness, maybe physical and mental health. And as part of this package with Viking, especially for a proactive check of the physical and mental health of our crew, as much as we would do with what is preventive maintenance of our machine. We do collect data and we monitor constantly our machine to avoid those machines to actually have a sudden breakdown. A similar concept Viking is introducing in healthcare with a weekly house doctor call, where is actually the doctor calling the ship and have a 15-20 minutes discussion with the officers, with the crew, and in this way they can actually understand the development of mental and health, mental and physical situation in the crew, and make sure that we don't get silent to the cases that we keep seeing of seafarers in distress, whether making human mistakes or actually even worse. And this doctor, house doctor call is delivered with, a video conference type of communication at sea, and is delivered, on demand at the moment, wherever in the world. And again, with this, with this partnership, we have been, deploying this capability also pro bono earlier this year. For we had the capability to deliver this, for instance, for the first 200 ships already in the first couple of weeks. So, if I then need to talk again to IT manager who was asking what I need to do, well, there are gains, significant gains in digitalization. You, my dear ICT manager, you are not the only one. You know what are the numbers. At least a 14% average saving in operational cost. But there are also challenges. And the challenges can actually be solved not in isolation. You are not alone, but there is a ecosystem of application provider who can actually leverage of solution like Fleet Connect or Fleet Data and build on the cumulative enabling capabilities of application provider and infrastructure provider like Inmarsat, actually to solve and again boost our journey for digitalizing at sea. Thank you very much, and open for questions.
Thank you, Marco. Very interesting presentation. One question here we have for you from Mr. Halviakis.
Yes.
Is the Fleet Connect and other business work on all platforms? Is the Fleet work and other bundles? Does it work on all platforms? FBB, VSAT,
yes.
etc.
I can see. Thank you, Chaldiakis. So Fleet Connect is available. So the dedicated bandwidth is available in different format, both on Fleet Express, so our VSAT and the Fleet Broadband package, and also on the Fleet Broadband alone. So we have application provider, for instance, the case of SRH, who is able to provide customers with only L-band Fleet Broadband a opportunity to have a automatic update of the Actis chart included in the package of Actis at a fixed rate, no matter the size of the charts. So avoiding, therefore, on Fleet Broadband, on L-band, the old case of bill shock. So again, very interesting proposition of integrated connectivity and an application. That is on Fleet Broadband, a typical case. And then, I mentioned, for instance, the case of AGS on a Fleet Connect KA and L-band solution. Hopefully, I managed to answer.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Marco. That was clear.
Yes, another question just came up from Mr. Soncini, or two questions rather.
Yeah, Soncini. If Fleet Data will be the data communication system for how long? 10 years. It is scalable for increased use of bandwidth. So Fleet Data is providing Fleet Data is made of three, let's say, solutions put together. The dedicated bandwidth to transmit the data from ship to shore, and that's obviously is scalable because it's a dedicated bandwidth independent from the primary connectivity, and has the more data we need to extract from the vessel, the bigger dedicated bandwidth we offer for the data extraction. The other two elements are the cloud storage solution that is today we leverage on an open platform solution. It is Microsoft Azure, and obviously these are definitely scalable. So the more customers are buying in on ship manager, buying in on these, we scale up, our own, infrastructure there. And the other element is the server, the IoT gateway that we install on board. And again, today we have a solution that is meeting the requirements that we see today from the ship manager, and it is we offer different packages depending on how many data and how many systems we need to interface. We see fleet data as the enabler of IoT for our ecosystem for long. We do not see, let's say, a replacement of fleet data, because the concept itself is a concept that will always be valid. You have Inmarsat deploying a IoT capability together with a communication package. And we will keep developing both the IoT server on board and our capability to interface with different systems. We will keep developing the dedicated bandwidth pipe, which is today available both on Fleet Express and Fleet Broadband. And we will keep developing our capability on the cloud side. It is a long-term bet that we are doing on the market, and we are definitely behind and supporting this. Hopefully, Giampiero, I managed to answer your question.
Thank you. Maybe you can reply in Italian.
Yeah, I can reply in Italian. Giampiero is a friend.
Okay. A follow-up to the first question from Mr. Karimalis. Is any bundle offered to potential clients that they want to utilize live feeds on dedicated monitoring sensors? And again, for example, that is any consideration to incorporate mobile connectivity, a SIM card, and SAT connectivity for reducing the overall cost and enhance the connectivity?
So those are two different questions. I'll answer the first one. So is any bundle offer or to potential clients that they want to utilize live feed or dedicated monitoring sensor? So absolutely. So fleet data is a two-sided real platform. So once the hardware is installed and the dedicated bandwidth is established and the storage is established, first of all, the ship manager has access to their own data. So both to a very simple graphical user interface on a web portal or to an API. So a ship manager who wants to develop their own digital solutions or even play with the data around what is the fleet performances, fleet data is the bundle solution, and is obviously both available for retrofit, and I want to remember it is available. A basic installation of fleet data is today default or every new installation of Fleet Express. So if you as a ship manager are buying today a new Fleet Express communication package, you will receive fleet data by default with 8 basic tags. So they will give you the opportunity to understand the location of your vessel, the performances of your vessel, the engine RPM, and all the basics that need you to understand, have a basic understanding of how your fleet performances are doing. And obviously, then we offer this possibility, for free of charge as part of buying the basic communication package. And obviously, there are the opportunity to expand interfacing different other systems. So today, a ship manager who decides to choose Fleet Express is already a ship manager who is buying in a smart ship, because has already available on an API or on a portal basic IoT data sensors coming from the ship. Now, to the second, hopefully I managed to answer that question. To the last one, any consideration to incorporate mobile connectivity and satellite connectivity for reducing the overall cost and enhance the connectivity? Absolutely, yes. as Inmarsat, you can find, actually, you can just Google Inmarsat and LTE. We are working on incorporating 4G, 5G, so mobile connectivity on LTE together with the package of satellite connectivity, not only for reducing the overall cost, but so best of all, actually, as you are highlighting, Mr. Karimalis, to enhance the connectivity. But remember that on a long-term perspective, I think this is also where we have to go in order to enable the transition to remote connected, remote and autonomous shipping, which is it's still a long shot, but it's not too long far away, and therefore we need to already try to work on it. So as Inmarsat, we are already working on it. We have been already piloting these on commercial pilot, integrated connectivity, satellite and mobile LTE connectivity on the ship. Again, hopefully I managed to answer the question.
Excellent, Marco. Excellent. Lovely way to end the morning session. Just to thank
you very much.
All the speakers of the morning session. It has been a fantastic morning session, I must admit. We apologize for the few little problems that we have faced during the day, and thank you to the participants for staying with us. Particularly, I would like to apologize to Captain Adami for not being able to go through with his presentation. The organizers have been alerted to this, and we'll have to look into what went wrong. And this is, for me, again, thank you, and I will pass you on to the organizers for some final small procedural and logistical announcements. Thank you for me, and have a nice rest of the day, and do come back for the afternoon session. Bye for me.
Okay, thank you all. We are breaking now for lunch, and we will see you again at 2 p.m. Please remember to evaluate the speakers and the event. Thank you.